Hello, most beautiful souls. It is with great joy that we connect with you today. You may think of this as you just watching a video, but that is not the case at all. We are in a dimension of oneness. And so when we speak through this channel, we bring to you that oneness, which means that we are connected with you in the moment you are viewing and before or after if you wish to. And it is that connection which is the sweet succor of all that we wish to transmit to you. You see, what we want to speak about today is not just how beautiful and magnificent you are when we make this connection, but how to become more beautiful and more magnificent throughout your daily life. And what we're going to suggest is counterintuitive. Rather than following a playbook or listening for instructions, we would rather that you dive into mystery. Yes. Can you master the unknown? Now that sounds oxymoronic, yes, to say we're going to master what we don't know. But in fact, the mastery is your ability to connect to the unknown. For in the unknown is all that is. All of creation resides in the field, that oneness field that we dance in with you in this moment, but we're asking you to dance in at all times. You see, many people in this culture are learned, and they teach. And those of us eager for knowledge or eager for wisdom, we seek out these teachers and we dutifully take notes and we learn what's being taught. We know the methods and the methodology. You know what I speak. The channel feeder is laughing because he was one of those people who had to get it right and do it as instructed. You see people who become great scholars, right? What is it that you call a doctor now? It is someone who has learned the ability to memorize all the body parts, all their mechanical interactions, all the drug interactions, all the treatment prescriptions. So it's a lot of knowing. And we apply this to our mentality when we say mental health. There's book after book of diagnoses, and you have to have the proper diagnoses to get paid and funded to do treatment. And those people who are the good professionals, they know how to provide what is prescribed. When presented with this set of symptoms, you say these kinds of things, and the patient has these kinds of responses, and now they're better. So there's that mastery, and it's esteemed. It's not just the ivory tower, it is esteemed with professorships and lucrative book awards. And many ways in our culture, we admire that. And this is all good. This is not to say that this is a bad pursuit in any way, but it is only a pursuit of what the 3D can provide you, because mind as it works on these levels is only in that 3D. So you have to step out of it and go into the mystery, go into the unknown. Can you have an experience without describing it, without mentally going, oh, it's like this other thing I've experienced? Because as soon as you say it's like this other thing that you've experienced, you've immediately put it in that box and you diminish the moment, what's going on, and you've made it a memory, not an experience. Now, sometimes this is hard to do when ego is in play or when mind wants to really hold on to tight control. What? Just be comfortable with this experience? That's uncomfortable because it brings up feelings. And of course, we're always telling you to process and clear, clear, clear. But those feelings then are what has kept the stuck ones anyway, are what has kept the mind rigid and in place. And the mind then responds by being rigid and enforcing, let's not look at these things. Let's not experience that. That's traumatic. So that's what happens when you go to the unknown. Not that there's trauma, but it reminds you of all the suppressed trauma. So there's that fear. So as you continue to clear, you're going to become okay with just experiencing the world. And more importantly, the extra dimensions that present themselves to you when you don't limit it with your box, when you don't choose not to see it because it does not fit a mental set. You know what I'm talking about. Many people have great epiphanies and they try to explain it. And the people they try to explain it to say, oh, you're crazy. You don't understand. That's not the way it is. There's nothing in science about that. And of course, there's not. But there's your own truth. And so we get diminished that way. And until we learn to have the courage to speak up for ourselves and say, no, I'm going to hold my vision, even if I'm the only one marching to this different drummer. But then it gets a step further when we do it with ourselves in our own mind, when we tend to categorize through our accumulated knowledge. And then basically we're just reading the same page of the book over and over, right? Oh, it happened when I was 12. Oh, it happened again. Oh, it's happening again. It's happening again. Well, what about writing a new chapter? Writing a new chapter means you have to leave the plot and the storyline behind. Go into the new places, the unknown, the mystery, because that's where all potentiality resides. And once you're in that field of potentiality, then you could imagine, you could attract, and things come to you better than you expected. I love the prayer. Peter, the channel, says it all the time. This, Lord, or better. Because it opens up the possibility there can be more that is unknown rather than just replace what we know. One of the channel's Peter's teachers decades ago exposed him to the concept of when a person has a breakdown. And that's going to be happening more and more as these energies rise and people are uncomfortable with exploring what's really there and it no longer fits their box. And so it literally breaks down and nothing makes sense. And people, you worry about yourself. Well, people will think I'm crazy because you're letting go of their norms as well. So of course they're going to think you're crazy, but you're grasping truth. And the way our culture deals with this is when we have a breakdown, we see the professional, the therapist. And the therapist sits there and helps us become okay that the old structure no longer works. And that's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful process to help somebody do that. But then here's where it gets a little dicey. And that's then the therapist tries to present a new structure, often their own, and sadly, often what's written about in the popular book of the time. Oh, this is what it is. They're going to give you this belief. And a lot of these are better than what you had. So that's not a problem, except if you want to become more than just the mundane, if you want to become the master of mystery, the unknown. This is where it's important when you have the breakdown to thank the therapist for supporting you and then dive into whatever is next and trust your intuition and your guidance. And it will not make sense because, of course, judged against what you call sense, it is not that. It is expansive. We spoke previously about faith, and if faith were real and physical and you can touch it and measure it, then it wouldn't be faith now, would it? So are you going to trust your faith to then go into these unknown realms and then pull back into your reality with miracles? That's literally what it is. So the mastery of mystery is not that you can control it, but you're open to allowing it. Another fabulous teaching that Channel Peter had. Spent a long time with a lot of monks, day after day, going over what are the prerequisites to receiving a miracle? What do all the people who've experienced miracles in literature, the saints and sages, what did they all have in common that they were doing to allow the miracle to come to them? See, that is a level of mastery, not that you cast your spell and go, what do you call it, all Harry Potter, say the right words and make the right motion with the wand, and then stuff happens. Of course, there's power in that too. We call it how, work hard and get ahead. No pain, no gain is what we call that. But that is not the miraculous. The miraculous are when you open up to that receiving mode and you're willing to go into the unknown. We've spoken about this at length, to stop telling a story that's not very pleasant about what was, to break out of the news and the media and the information, to know what's the latest scandal, or how the Illuminati are after you, or whatever it is. It's, occupying people who want to stay stuck to fear. Because when you stay on that story and you stay in that fight, then they dictate the terms of your reality. They dictate the universe that you see in. And of course, you can't help but respond by, reacting to, oh my God, this is terrible. What am I going to do? How am I going to fight this? Oh, poor me. I'm helpless. So you need to step out of that part of that storytelling, but more importantly, not just the oppositional creations around you, but all the things we take for granted that we call learned or scholarly or sane or making sense. We need to step free from all of that to become the master of the unknown. You step into the unknown. That's literally all it is. You step into it, and that is the mastery. That's what it takes to go where the miracles then can happen. And you can be grateful and receive, of course. But it's about creating space and letting space come to you. So it's not just stop telling a negative story. At a certain level, it's realizing that any story you choose to tell, good or bad, then becomes the reality, the fictional universe, the world building, as those who read science fiction and watch movies call it. That becomes your world. So what we're saying is, it's hard, especially for those of us who've been taught many years. And we're very good. We've got letters after our names. We get paid money to consult or do therapy. And we have a very set of stories that people can tell. And none of them, well, not none of them, mostly none of them, include the miraculous. The idea that you spontaneously heal, that you open up to connection with your source, and then miracles flow through you and happen in your life and to those around you. And that when you face your fears and heal and see what was all trapped in there, and then don't start telling a new story, then your whole family shifts, your whole constellation shifts, because the energy that was holding the negativity of the other people close to you in place is no longer fixed, and it starts to crumble. And you can support them or not as you choose. Just be happy that they're having their opportunity. Many, many people even say, oh, dark night of the soul, which is just really a sign of how much resistance you have to letting go of the story that you've been telling and allowing the feelings that you have been suppressed to flow through you. So, of course, if it's resistant and hard, then a dark night of the soul could just easily be, oh my gosh, I am stepping into the unknown. And now all the miracles and wonders that were unimaginable can come to me. Let me taste and feel what that looks like. And of course, you don't have a story. As soon as you start telling the story, you're out of it because you're relating it to what you've known. So it's going to come in bits and pieces. So you're just okay not telling any kind of description of yourself, to, as we were speaking about earlier, just breaking, totally breaking wide open. And then instead of having Humpty Dumpty put back together again, then you say, ooh, my shell is gone. What do I want to be? An omelet. Maybe not even an egg anymore. Maybe anything is possible. And it is. And that's what we're here to tell you, that you're a master of mystery. And you have it not by listening to these channels and saying, oh, this is what I'm prescribed to do, because that just keeps you in the box. But rather saying, I just don't know. wow, I'm having this experience, and maybe I'll tell you about it later, but right now I'm going to stay in it because it's giving all kinds of things are coming up with me I've never experienced before, and I don't want to diminish it by saying, oh, it's like this other thing. And then as we're comfortable in those places, that's when we create our 5D world. That's when we create what we choose, and we share that because other people start to break free out of their Humpty Dumpty eggshells and start to go, oh my God, what? This can be a beauty. It can be a forest or an oasis or a seashore or anything because that's all within me and I'm connected to it. Holy cow. Or whatever else you choose to hold holy. Anyway, we have so enjoyed connecting with you today because it is the connection that reminds us of what this expansive, mysterious field is that we're talking about. The fact that we can sit here, although we're not really sitting because we're not in this dimension, right? We can sit here with you and have this connection that defies all logic and defies all mystery. And if you just sit there and feel it, then you know what we speak of. And you know that this is available to you. And you know that when things start to get condensed and start to look like they're going to shatter, let them break. Quote one of the absolute favorite sayings of the channel Peter when he did this amazing process where hundreds of people were having a huge experience. And afterwards, one woman was sharing about it. She said, it felt like my head was going to explode. And I got scared, so I pulled out. And the guide said to her, you should have let your head explode. So we leave you with a beautiful exploding head and are so joyous to know that as you connect with us in the future, we will see all the magnificence that you have accessed and created by letting yourself become limitless, boundaryless, becoming the master of mystery. Many blessings to you. Hi, this is Peter D. Thank you so much for your support. We're all doing our best to help humanity ascend. Please like this video and subscribe to this channel so YouTube will place these messages where more people can see them. And of course, you can always check the links below if you'd like to book a channeled spiritual coaching session or make a donation. Much appreciation.